Page 2 of your audit plan, come down to 5A. That's what you'll be doing here, a balance sheet and an income statement for the current year. Let me show you where that is on your computer. If you go under Module 7, Audit Planning, which I have pulled up, Module 7. Okay, it looks like this. It's called Audit Planning. There's two places that you can get the information. Okay, I have the audit plan for Keystone in the middle of the module, and then there's a balance sheet and an income statement underneath that with a trial balance. You can download that information for the balance sheet and the income statement there. Or you could go right below that. This is where you'll submit your assignment. It'll be due next Sunday. It will open up tomorrow, which is on Monday, the 8th. Currently it's hidden, but if you click on that link, okay, it will pull up the information that we need to look at, your balance sheet and the income statement. And there's 4 pages to it. Now, we're not doing number 12. We're doing 5A. So ignore the information about number 12. But this is what you need. Okay, let me get my hard copy now and go through this with you as to what's here. Okay, now on the first page you have a balance sheet from last year, okay, previous year, and it starts with cash. That's your balance sheet for last year. Liabilities, stockholders' equity coming on down, and if you remember, assets equal liabilities and stockholders' equity. The next page is last year's income statement, and it starts with sales up here. Then it's going to have your expenses. It's going to come down here, and you'll have net income. And if you'll notice how they reconciled retained earnings by taking the beginning balance, adding it to net income, and that's going to give you an ending balance. And you'll need to do that also on yours. Now, the third page will be your trial balances, okay? Now, the numbers for last year, this is your balance sheet. It starts with cash. These are your trial balance numbers. And this column will be the numbers that were in last year's balance sheet, okay? So let's kind of take a look here. On cash, if you add the first two numbers, you come up with the cash number of $53,964, okay? If you notice, accounts receivable trade, okay, here's accounts receivable trade, but you have to subtract out the allowance, and the allowance is down here with the negative number, and that's how they get this number. So if you go down and look at all of the numbers in this first column, they should match up with the numbers on your balance sheet, okay? Now, let's look at the income statement. The second page here is your trial balance for your income statement. It starts with sales, and this first column will be the numbers that are actually in the income statement for last year, okay? If you notice the negative numbers here, okay, revenue or sales has a credit balance, so that's why they're in parentheses. If you add those 4 numbers up, they're going to equal this $96 million here, okay? The next number that you have is the cost of sales, $74,122,455. That's the number over on the cost of goods sold or cost of sales, and that's subtracted from sales to get gross profit. So if you go down through all of these, the first column matches up with last year's balance sheet. Income statement, I'm sorry. This is the income statement. Sales minus expenses equals net income. So how are we going to get this year's? Well, what you need to do here is you need to start with the income statement. You need to take the second column that you have here. And what I would do, I've already started doing it on one of them over here, is I would draw a line out by the side, okay? And I would put in the numbers for this year. For instance, if you add up all four of the numbers in parentheses, it's going to come up to be 96,459,566. That's your revenue or your sales. Your cost of goods sold, 72,134,566 is the second number. So I would go through the second column and I would just draw a line out to the side. Once you've matched up all the numbers, I would retype it or put it on Excel. That's what you have to do. Okay, don't turn it into me like this. Okay. Now, let's look down here at the retained earnings and the income. Here's what you need down here at the bottom. Once you get your net income number, you're going to take the retained earnings, which is on the balance sheet. Let's go back here. Here's your balance sheet. Okay, here's your retained earnings. 2,615,000. It says retained earnings. Take that number. You're going to add it to your net income, whatever it is. Then you want to come back and you want to subtract your dividends of 415. Dividends of 415. And the bottom line here should be 2,430,355. So you need to work this down. I'm giving you this last part, but you need to work this all the way down to get to net income. Changing numbers, you may need to add a few numbers here. Just plug them in where they're shown, whether it's in the expense section or this is your sales and expenses. Okay, this is your income statement information. The only thing you needed off the balance sheet there was that retained earnings. Now, when you get your net income, what you need to do is to go and do your balance sheet. And again, your balance sheet is your cash. These are your assets all the way down to your intangibles. Those are assets. Your liabilities start with accounts payable. They all go all the way down to your lease. Then the last part here is going to be your owner's equity or your stockholder's equity. Again, use the second column here. And what you want to do is take your balance sheet from last year. I'll give you the numbers. And start at the top. Okay, add the numbers with put the two numbers at the top for cash. It should be 77,434. These two numbers. Then come down and you want to take your receivables, trade receivables, 10,131,457. Then you'll come down and get officer receivables, which would be the next line, 84,5 or 670. Here it is. Okay, so just go all the way down, plug in the numbers. Now, don't forget when you get down here to retained earnings, though, you have to pick up that number from your income statement that you finished. Okay, so this bottom number, retained earnings, that's going to end up being the, here it is, this number. Okay, so your retained earnings down here for your new statement will be that number that's on the income statement. Now, when you finish, again, don't turn it in with all this writing on it. Either retype it completely or put it on Excel. And here's where you need to upload it. Let me show you. Go back to that module. Let me click off. Okay. You want to go back to this module, and when it appears, you want to click on. And you can either, the best thing to do is to upload it in this second area here. I would not do a copy paste, although you could. If you typed it, you could click Create Submission and do a copy paste. I would upload your file, whether it's an Excel file or a Word document, and then hit Submit down at the bottom, and I'll have it ready to grade. Okay, and again, this is found under Module 7. It will open up on Monday morning. Okay, and I will try to put this video where you can find it. Again, Module 7. Okay, let's take a look again. It will appear tomorrow, and it will be under the audit plan there where it says balance sheet and income statement assignment, and it's due Sunday the 14th at 11:59. Good luck to you on this one. Email, text, call. I'm sure there'll be some questions. I just can't tell you how to do it, okay, as far as the numbers.